Okay, so we're back here with some blue-red Drake. Opener looks good, nothing too fancy. I'm just going to always be happy to keep a mix of lands and spells. So, looks like we got another red deck here. I fully expect to get kind of drowned in the sea of red aggressive decks. I think it's a great place to be right now if everybody wants to be taking their... Ooh, that is a... Wow, this is going to be a tough one. Every word. All right. So I definitely would prefer to have a red removal spell here, but kind of a nice thing about this format is that this 1/3 that we're sitting on is really going to do a lot of work. Yep. A nice guy. So we're going to dig for a spot removal spell or a ghostly flicker. So it's targeting me on that. All right, Swiftwater Cliffs. We'll put the Oracle on the bottom. I do want to hit my land drops. I think that's pretty important. We can trade with the Shred Freak. I think he's trying to indicate he has the Bushwhacker here. He does not. Okay. So let's just get the chip in, or the block in, putting us to 5. No. Okay. I mean, our opponent just had a extremely good draw there. We'll kind of just take that one on the chin and call it a day. So let's find out where we can gain some ground back here. Definitely like the Hydroblast and the Fadeaway. Cards I'm looking to cut because I'm not sure if we're really going to get time to access them. These compulsive researches seem okay. So what I'm kind of thinking here is I might want to sideboard into just a more controlling deck. Loading up on the spot removal. No, we're just going to stay, pretty consistent. I don't think I'll have time to tap out for a compulsive research, but we'll leave the one we have in there. So he did show me one other card. Yeah. All right. Let's try to go for the 2 Electrickeries, 2 Hydroblasts, and a Fadeaway. Cutting a counter spell. It's just not as mana efficient. Kind of see where it goes from here. So this game 2, be on the play, try to get a spot removal spell in our opener. Yeah, we'll be fine here. So that draw out of the red deck is definitely one that going 4 damage into setup 6, 9. I mean, that's probably about as fast as they can get. I don't think that we were necessarily keeping a bad one there, but that was a punishing one. So from here, we're going to be in a really good spot. We can go Island Pass. We'll just eat the burn spell that our opponent's going to throw at us here. Go to 17. And, oh, apologies. I'm going to take these off. Glare. Okay. So I guess at this point, I'm not really understanding what our opponent's sequence is here. I'm going to hold up for one more turn with the control cards here. If I get to the next turn, okay, so we'll let that resolve. Let me double check here. Did our opponent mulligan? Okay. So we're actually going to let that stick. Going to bolt there. I could have very well traded the counterspell for that. All right. So we still have the ability to sit on this counter spell and hopefully get some advantages from that into a less mana efficient. Okay. So he's dashing here. I'm actually going to counter that as well. This is definitely not what I expected out of the red deck that our opponent's sporting. Was always kind of more under the impression that they just played some more traditional 1 and 2 drops, but I like what I'm seeing. Those cards are definitely some powerful effects. So we're going to evoke this here, try to dig a couple cards deeper. And then we will cycle. Didn't draw anything there. We'll play the Boiler Works, bouncing back our island, and pass the turn. Okay, I see what's going on here. So our opponents kind of identified that we're going to be light on some of our interaction and the really undo. Let's actually put a Muldrifter into play. Okay. From here, it looks like we're going to have to discard a card, and that is okay. Let us discard. So in this situation, I'm actually going to just discard the island. So from here, what I would, apologies for the glasses again. Let's see, we're actually going to we'll just blow this up anyway. So that was my entire intent there. I realized I could lightning bolt in the same situation. I think he's going to have a steady stream of creatures. So let's try to kick this into high gear and actually win a game here. Okay. Draw a couple cards, play a Swiftwater Cliffs, go down to the 7 cards in hand, get our chip in, and we're just in a good position from here. Nice high life total. Got a lightning bolt to make sure if he does put another creature in play, we have a good response for that. If our opponent wants to tap, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm hoping he'll tap one more. No, so he's going to attack with the Brawler. No, he doesn't. Okay. We're going to get our fadeaway in here. That'll eat one of his creatures. Play our costs. Keep both of our creatures. I'm assuming he's going to keep the Mud Brawler cohort. Okay. So we took a couple lands from him. Apologies, I was a little misunderstood what the card did, but we'll take the advantage as it comes. Okay. Gain our 1 off of Swiftwater Cliffs. Our opponent has 1 card in hand, so I'm not terribly concerned about his ability to pressure us. We're just going to get our chip in and keep pushing from here. If our opponent has the removal spell, we take 4, go to 9. He's only got 1 card in hand, so we're in good shape. So that is the card. I'm assuming it'll target itself. We'll show it the bolt. And this is going to be a pretty clean cut, game. I think I'll actually just be able to, so 2, 4. Yeah, we might be able to just win this next game or next turn. All right, so we're going to put him down to 10. So then we go down to 7. We go down to 3. Okay, not quite. I am not going to take the time in this position, though, to figure out if we're exactly on point for it. I'm not too worried about it, though. Yeah, we'll just draw another Drake here. So we'll untap these 5 here. Yield to that to set a little bit of an advantage. I think I will then run out a second Drake here. Then untap us a few. All right, so 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're 1 short. Wouldn't have been okay. So I was right to say that we couldn't combo. Let's Archaeomancer back a lightning bolt here. And I'm actually just going to do that twice. I'll be able to do it once. Silly me. So let's blow up the Brawler. And then cast another one. We'll buy back the Hydroblast here. It's a hard counter in this matchup. So this is accenting this is showcasing what I think is the more realistic way that this deck wins. It just gets to a nice advantageous board state, uses Drake to kind of vomit its hand into play, and passes with maybe not the most protection, but enough to hold on to the game. I would have to say, if that's the case, something like Karavic's Torch, it's staying in because it is a spot removal spell, but it's not something that I think we necessarily need to have. I'm trying to think if I can optimize this sideboarding even more. No, I'm okay with this configuration. This is definitely something that, a deck that fits with, kind of like my play style. I'm really starting to gravitate towards the hyper consistent decks and decks that let me make as many decisions as possible. That's thanks to working with my lovely teammate, Andrew Kenjum. Okay, so just before we, get too far ahead of ourselves, I kept this hand because I feel like having double, we're going to bottom both of these. I feel like having all of the card selection of Preordain is where I want to be. I realize I'm not going to be able to have a red source until turn 3, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. Okay. Preordain again. Bottom. So I don't think I need blue next turn. So let's just Boilerworks. Our opponent didn't show us their land. And yeah, we'll put the Seagate Oracle in play and go to blocking from there. So too many cards in hand. We're just going to discard one of these Archaeomancers. Yeah, this will be fine. Yeah, I got 2 Swiftwater Cliffs. So if he hits the Shred Freak here, okay, so that is another haster. I'm going to go to 12. Well, this is actually a really good fadeaway turn, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah. So if he wants to sack, so for 3 creatures, he's going to have to sack 3 permanents. So even if he goes double land, yeah, let's get him here. Okay, now that I know what fadeaway does, this still seems like a great place to have it. My guess is he'll sack that and the other cohort. Like, I don't think he can sack both of his lands. So really, Well, it is a 1/1 if he doesn't keep it. Maybe he sacks all 3 creatures. Okay. So that's where he's chosen to kind of put his spot at. Sure. All right. I think Fadeaway is going to give us a pretty good chance in this matchup. It's not perfect, but it'll do a lot of good. There's not a land I'm looking for here. Probably just a spot removal spell of some kind. That'll do nicely. Gain my life. You know, is the tap effect worth the life? Yes, it's 2 colors as well, so you really have to make some concessions there to make those cards work. Or sorry, to make your mana bases work. Seems great. Okay, so he's then going to be able to battle in with 2 creatures. 4, 5. Okay, so this is one of those mid-range turns where we're going to get to drake up a bunch of value and hopefully start to take the game back into our side of things. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're not going to be able to drake up a big advantage here. But we do get to do that. And then we have counterspell. Yeah, sure, this seems fine. Our opponent should not be able to get through any damage this turn. So we can actually go destroy this. Bolt this. And let him attack for 2. Yeah, this seems fine. So we can get through no damage. Okay. Now we are in one of those good positions. Now, it's obviously great with the Boiler Works when you can net a mana, but I'm just willing in this case to kind of take what we can get. Let's evoke this. Get a couple cards out of it. So I actually think I want to dig a card deeper here. I do have the bolt for one of his creatures. 5th land as well. Yeah, we're just going to pass here. Leaving up bolt cycle. We're really looking just for the ghostly flicker at this point. We've already got we can actually let that happen. Cycle this, sure. He's going to be able to untap and get a bunch of stuff back. Sure. Let him eat that. Blow up one of his creatures. So I'm actually going to I'm actually going to Chaomancer back a Preordain in this situation. Or do I want to do it for the Hydroblast? Yeah, let's get the Hydroblast here. Kind of a nice part about where we're at now is we're just far enough ahead that I think we can just attack through. We have a pretty good blocker. So this is where it really starts looking like the twin deck. All we have to do in this position is just, not die. I think we're going to be in good shape from there. So he's going to send that upstairs, which is fine. Nope. So that was a good heads up play on his part. He's going to sneak through the creature while he can. And then we're going to, 1, 2. Actually, we're just going to undo that. We're going to attack with a few of our folks here. No, let's check the Drake. So puts him to 16. So since I'm not going to generate any advantage off of this, I'm not going to generate a mana advantage here. I actually just want the attacker. So I guess he's trying to make us think that he has the Pyroblast. Okay, well, it's going to be a pretty steady, you know, anticlimactic grind from here. We're not going to have a big combo finish. We've got 2 counter spells in hand. We've got 5 damage, putting him to 11. So he's going to slash that. Let's. I'll actually just counterspell that. I do want to keep my flying attackers. I think this is the best way for me to keep the pressure up. We'll kill that off, and then that'll open up just one more avenue of attack here. So I put him to 10, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I'm going to leave back the blocker just in case he has like. So he's going to send that at our face. Okay. All right. So he's down to 1 card in hand. Sorry, I was leaving this back for the blocker. So if he had like haste removal spell, he knows we have the Hydroblast. I expect him to pop the relic into turn. Sure. Just select a thing. Flame Slash. Yeah, we're in good shape here. So we'll trade the Arrow-Chaomancer for this. Does that set us up for... So he's got no cards in hand, but he can draw a card. It's kind of a wash one way to the other. I want to hold up the Pyro just in case, so this will put him to 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, well, it's going to take us one more turn. I was trying to play around his relic being activated for a card in his hand and to untap for another card. We'll let him have all of those. And then, unless he has, okay, so he's just dead from here. And countered. And then we get to untap and hopefully our opponent from this position will see that he is quite dead. X is 6. And then we'll finish out the attack. So I was pretty impressed with that draw. That's definitely more of the twin draw in that, or excuse me, the combo control draw in that we get to dictate the pacing of the way the game goes. We just win with our standalone creatures in Drake and Muldrifter and the like, and even our Chaomancer, we're doing some work there. While I keep drawing the comparison, I do think it's important that we are noting that these individual pieces are doing a lot of work towards winning the game on their own. Just standalone cards are very good. That was a big advantage of Blue-Red Twin. Pestermite and Deceiver Exarch both had great application, outside of just comboing. Tapping down creatures and the like, letting you drag out an extra combat step or an extra untap step was vital. This deck gets to do that with all 3 of its pieces. Our Chaomancer buying back the creature, buying back a removal spell or a counter spell. Drake, both attacking, blocking, and comboing. And then Ghostly Flicker. All of our creatures have come into play effects. So this is a wonderful combination of things. So thank you for watching the next game of our series here. I think that was a much better example than what we had recorded for the first one, where I really hard forced the combo. I am pretty pleased to see that the deck just does a good job of, trading its resources into getting into kind of a 2 attack step position. I think with a Ghostly Flicker, I could have, easily demonstrated how to go through the combinations there to win the game, but pretty happy with that outcome. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next round.